This is the Story Slot. In each episode, we bring you traditional stories with light dramatisation. This story is The 12 Dancing Princesses, originally published around 1812 by the Brothers Grimm. The Brothers Grimm, Jacob and Wilhelm, were born in Germany in the 1780s. They were learned academics, best known for collecting and publishing European folk stories. Their collected stories are known by different names throughout the world, and have dropped in and out of popularity over the years. These works are perhaps best recognised through the many adaptations rather than in their first published form. Among the more famous of these may be Disney's interpretations of Grimm's tales, such as Cinderella, Sleeping Beauty, Beauty and the Beast, and even Disney's very first full-length feature, Snow White. So without further ado, we present The 12 Dancing Princesses.
There was once a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. They slept in one long room with 12 beds all in a row. Every night they were locked in that room, but every morning their shoes would be worn through, as if they had been danced in all night. But nobody could understand how it happened, or where they had been. So the king said that if any man could find out the secret, that man could choose one of the daughters for a wife. But if anybody tried and did not succeed, after 3 days and 3 nights he should be killed. Another king's son came from far away. He decided to sit up all night and see where they went, for his room was next to theirs. So he kept his door open and set himself to sit and watch. But he soon fell asleep. When he awoke in the morning, he found that the princesses had been dancing again, for their shoes were worn through. The same thing happened the next night and the next night. So the king ordered,
"Off with his head!"
Several more young men came, but the same thing happened to all of them. After some time, an old soldier passed through the kingdom. He met an old woman in the woods who asked him where he was going.
I don't know where I ought to go, or what I ought to do, but I would very much like to find out about those dancing princesses. After all, if I can find out where it is they go, I might become king.
For the king, who had promised the hand of a daughter to the man who could solve the mystery, had decreed that his kingdom would pass to that very daughter's husband one day.
Well, as long as you don't drink any of the wine those princesses offer you, that shouldn't be too hard. And if you pretend to be asleep, you may catch them at their game.
And the old woman gave him a cloak. To his surprise, it made him invisible.
As long as you wear that, you will be able to follow those princesses wherever they go.
Armed with the old woman's advice and the gift she had given him, the old soldier approached the castle and stated his intention to solve the mystery of the dancing princesses. He was welcomed as generously as any of the others had been, and the king gave him a gift of royal robes. When the evening came, he was led to the same room next door to the princesses, like all the men who had tried before him. Soon one of the princesses brought him a cup of wine, but he poured it away when nobody was looking. After a little while, laying down on the bed, he pretended to snore, convincing the daughters that he was fast asleep. The princesses all laughed, thinking they had beaten him as well, as they took out their best clothes and dressed up beautifully. But the youngest daughter felt uneasy.
"I am sure something bad is going to happen to us,"
she said.
"Oh, you're always afraid. Have you forgotten how many kings' sons we have fooled? This soldier is so old that he would have fallen asleep even if I hadn't fed him the wine with the sleeping powder."
When they were all ready, they checked the soldier was still sleeping soundly. Then the eldest daughter went to the foot of her bed, clapped her hands, and the floor opened up, the bed disappearing and a trap door opening. The soldier peeked out through one eyelid and saw the princesses going down through the trapdoor one by one. He put on the invisibility cloak and hurried after them, but in his haste he trod on the gown of the youngest girl.
"Someone took hold of my gown!" "You stupid girl. It is nothing but a nail in the wall."
So down they all went, and as they reached the bottom, the old soldier saw that they were in a beautiful grove of trees, the leaves all silver and glittering. He wished to take away a souvenir, so he broke off a little branch, but it made a loud noise. The youngest daughter was startled again.
"There it is again! Didn't you hear that noise?"
But the eldest princess was growing impatient.
"It is only our princess calling to us."
Now they approached another grove of trees where all the leaves were of gold, and then to another where all were glittering diamonds. Each time the soldier broke a branch from a tree, and each time the youngest daughter trembled with fear. But the eldest kept telling her all was well. Soon they came to a great lake, beside which there were 12 little boats, and in each boat was a handsome prince waiting for the princesses. One princess went into each boat, and the soldier quickly stepped into the same one as the youngest princess. The prince in this boat began feeling unusually tired.
"I don't know why, but although I'm rowing with all my might, we don't seem to be moving as fast as usual. The boat seems very heavy today."
"It is the heat of the weather. I feel it very warm too."
On the other side of the lake they came to a fine illuminated castle, and they were greeted by the sound of merry music. The princesses all danced with their princes. The soldier, still under his special cloak, danced too, and he drank the wine from each princess's cup. The youngest princess was frightened when she found her cup empty, but her eldest sister still silenced her. They danced and danced until 3 in the morning, when their shoes were worn through, so they must leave. The princes rowed them back across the lake. The soldier had climbed into the eldest princess's boat this time. The princes left them, promising to come again the next night. When they reached the stairs to return through the trapdoor to their chamber, the soldier ran ahead and laid down on his bed so they would not suspect anything.
"There. All is quite safe."
They put away their fine clothes, pulled off their shoes, and went to bed. In the morning the soldier decided to say nothing about what he had seen, but instead go with them again, and again the night after that. Each night it all happened just the same as the first. But on the third night the soldier took one of the golden cups as his souvenir. When the time came for him to report to the king, he took with him the 3 branches and the cup, and the 12 princesses stood behind him to listen. When the king asked his daughters if all the soldier had said was true, he kept his promise. He asked the soldier which daughter he would choose.
"As I am no longer young, I shall choose your eldest daughter for my wife."
So the soldier and the feisty eldest daughter were married and lived happily ever after.
You've just heard the story of the 12 Dancing Princesses, adapted by Jane Grandle and narrated by Nicki Bannerman. The king was played by JD Kelly, the princes by Jamie Dyer, and the princesses by Jane Grandle. This has been the Story Slot from J. Dyer Productions.